Hi guys, and welcome down to this brand new series here on CoasterGen. It's called In My Opinion, and I'm joined by Mikhile all the way through this series as we talk about our favorite rides, our favorite flat rides, coasters, theme parks, layouts, inversions, everything, but in our opinion. So things will get a bit controversial here and there. And today's episode is actually going to be, in my opinion, what my favorite coaster is. So, without further ado, let's get stuck into this episode 1 of my opinion. What's my favorite roller coaster? So, in my opinion, my favorite roller coaster, if you can't tell already, is the Swarm. Now, there's many reasons for this. Mikhile, how do you feel about that? That's actually my favorite coaster at the moment.
I respect it. I don't personally agree, but I do respect it. Amongst all the other coasters that we have in this country, and I do totally understand why it would be someone's number one coaster. However, I personally feel that there are a few, maybe at Fort and at Alton Towers that I would put above it personally. But I definitely understand it.
Where my love for the Swarm comes from is I really enjoyed Furious Bacco at PA. Now this is just a contrast and a little bit of a tangent here, but the wing sensation on a coaster is something that I absolutely adore. Like, I love being that far away from the track, that far away from everything around you, and then the
Yeah.
things that you interact with as you go rapid pace through things, like the Swarm's
Mm.
billboard. After the corkscrew, after the turnaround, the helix turnaround before the corkscrew, then you go through the billboard again just before you go over the church the second time. If you are telling me you don't pull your hands down at that point as you go past that billboard, you are lying, because it is so close. But the main reason why I like the Swarm is, well, on a past stream we was talking about Oblivion and how it was impactful during construction, and the build up and the hype and everything. And I really think they nailed the marketing of the invasion. They had the BBC presenters and stuff like that in on the outside. Just as you get into where the station is, the queue line is, telling you that the world's gone chaotic, and the adverts really transported you to this place where everything was chaos. And if you stand in the stealth queue, you can hear chaos, sirens, big heavy bass riff from Yumi at 6 going on in the background, and you just think, what the heck is going on over there? Like, it just sounds like this chaos. And the soundtrack makes it as well, because it really brings you into this, like, it's kind of like this evil thing going on, but
Just apocalyptic
world going on.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you feel like you're in it's the closest I've ever felt when I first step into a new ride area that I'm in a film set. Like, there is something going on, and you could be in there with actors and there could be cameras rolling, and you wouldn't see anything different in a film set. It really
I
does.
think the theming in the area does well to put you in that situation as well,
Yeah,
because it's
definitely.
a lot of situational theming, in the sense that, there's the billboard, there's the
Plane.
broken airplane
Yeah.
wing, the fire engine is the fire engine in the station, or is it somewhere else
No,
in the area?
it's just outside. It's next to the billboard.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
because the
And
fire, obviously the fire goes off.
yeah, you see, you got the fire engine. You've got, is there
Ambulance
a
upside
broken
down.
off, yeah, ambulance upside down, and is there a broken off helicopter propeller as well,
Yes, there's a
or
crashed
something like that?
helicopter by the turnaround
Yeah,
before it goes into the corkscrew.
yeah. So
And
the
that fires
different the
water,
di
I think.
yeah, so it does, like the different set pieces do well to just dictate what kind of scenario you're being put into. A little bit more,
It could be
just a
more
little bit more.
intense. No, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. But the reason why I like the coaster so much is because if you put that, we just spent about 3 minutes talking about just a little bit of theming. We're not even gone into full depth yet. And
Yeah.
that, with the coaster and the layout itself, and what it provides in terms of experience, that just sums it
Yeah.
up. Like, you can talk about the Swarm and you'd be like, I'd improve this, I'd improve that. It's not long enough. It's not this, it's not that. But when you actually think about it as a package, when you get off that ride, man, there's no feeling like it. You feel like you just want to do it again. And that's the thing with the Swarm for me.
Yeah.
It grabs me. Like, it grabs the enthusiast inside me and goes, you need to go and experience that again. Like, just get back in the queue and just experience that hang time. Experience the
Sure.
0G roll, going through the billboard, that intense turnaround for the corkscrew. Man, the amount of G's you pull on that turnaround is ridiculous by the helicopter.
Yeah.
Every
So
time.
let's get into the ride experience a little bit then.
Yeah.
So like there are things that I really like about the ride experience, like
Yeah.
the strength of the positive G's in the turnaround after the incline loop, like you mentioned. And also I think one thing, I think probably my favorite part of the Swarm is also some of my favorite parts on other B&M wings that I've done. Like just the 0G roll
Yes.
feels like a 0G roll.
It
You
does.
you float through it
It's so graceful.
for a good few seconds, don't you?
Yeah.
Like and that's what I love about 0G rolls on B&M wing coasters in general, is that like that sensation of floating for several seconds at a time, not just like 2 or 3 or 4. It literally it feels like you're there for a good while before the train starts to drop out of the roll. And it's one of the few where it actually looks like that off ride as well.
Yeah,
Like I don't know about you, but
yeah, when you watch the train, like when it's testing in the morning, like when you get on the balcony in Fort Park, I used to be able to linger about and look at things before old COVID got involved. But you can watch the Swarm, and as it goes into that 0G roll, man, that back train just goes whoop, like just straight round and straight down.
Doesn't it look
so
like
cool.
it like the back row especially, but just the entire train the entire train just literally looks like it's floating there through the roll for a good few seconds before it drops out of it. I just think that's a super cool characteristic.
Yeah, and the fact that when you're on the ride, you're experiencing that, but from like almost 20 feet away from the track, at a good arm's length, good stretch out. It's like, is it 10 or 15? I don't know what it is, but if you think 2 seats across, there's a little bit of a gap between the seats, so it is quite far, and you're away from the track, so you're not actually going with the track, you're going with the car. So whereas the 0G on a normal B&M would be like that, you're almost like that.
Yeah, it's pretty smart to see how B&M were able to sort of have the roll, the roll rate and the heartline roll in conjunction, like the heart lines of both sets of seats roll in conjunction with each other, and then with the track as well. Is very clever how they managed to pull that off and still have it be as comfortable as possible as well.
It is, yeah. And the thing for me as well is you get a choice, because it's a wing coaster. You can go over or you can go under the wing over drop, and that's cool. Like, how many coasters can you think of that you can choose to have a different experience just from going from left or from right? Like that's huge to me. That's
well.
like,
what side do you prefer? Well, what side do you prefer? Because
I love going over, but that's for the rest of the layout. Going underneath for the wing over drop, because you end up going on the opposite side of the track, is just like, it's an experience you can't really talk about unless you do it.
Because like depending on the side you choose, you can go over when it's entering the roll and then under when it's exiting.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, you can go under on entry of the roll and then come over the top when you're coming out of the roll. I think I prefer going over and then under, because as the seats dip under the track as you come out of the roll, I seem to remember more so on that side the feeling of really floating there in the roll before exiting it.
Yes, I think when you go underneath, you just kind of like shoot down the hill really quick. Whereas when you go over, because you're going actually over the track, this is what we're saying about the experience of the wing coaster, is you go over and you like sit up and you just look down and the track's just like to the right, left of you, and you're just like, wow. You just hang time, seconds
Yeah,
and seconds and seconds of hang time, and then whoosh straight down
yeah,
and into that 0G. So much positive to zero in that
for
short
sure.
section of track. So I've never really felt any force really on me as you enter that trim. I don't even know if it works or not. So if anyone can tell us in the comments, or if anybody works at Fort Park, just let us know. It'd be nice to know.
Yeah.
So onto my like the main bit that I really like is the transition from the 0G into the billboard into the inclined loop. Now everyone says it's not an inversion.
Okay.
It's not an inversion. Because you don't go upside down at all. It's just a turn, really.
Yeah. It's more of an overbanked
Yeah,
turnaround.
it's just an overbanked turn, but it's well, in a way, if you look at it from a certain angle, it does look like a loop, and you can make it look like a loop on photographs. I've seen people do it. I've even done it myself. But if you just took a loop and just went like that with it, then that is kind of what it is. Goes up and then comes down. But then it shoots round that forceful turnaround and then into the
Yeah.
corkscrew. That chunk of ride there is so nice because you go
Yeah.
positive, negative, chilled, positive, negative, nearly
Yeah.
smash your head off a billboard. Like it's, it's so good. And I think one of the reasons why I like it so much as well is that I managed to do Brave It backwards. Did you do it? Did you manage to do it?
Oh, I haven't.
You haven't done
No.
it. Oh. So imagine all them feelings you get of the 0G, the wing over drop. Everything is exaggerated so much. Even
Yeah.
looking back at the station as you're going up the lift, though. If you guys have
Because you must be so
experienced,
you must be so disorientated because you can't see what's coming in front of you.
no, you just kind of here we go.
Yeah.
It literally is like that, and it's so awesome. I mean, even the Heartline roll over the station at the end is just you know it's there, but when it happens, it's like a jump scare. You know that's going to happen, but when it happens, you just fly and you just fly over upside down. And when
Yeah.
you're going backwards, it's a weird sensation. Have you done the revolution at Blackpool?
Yeah.
When you hit the loop backwards, it's such a strange
Yeah,
sensation.
it's
Like
it's
what?
disorientating, and same with Vekoma boomerangs as well. When you navigate that cobra roll backwards, it's because you
Where am
can't
I?
see you can't see where you're about to be going, and you can't see what's ahead of you. I really do like that feeling. I probably would have enjoyed doing the Brave It backwards. But yeah, unfortunately, I haven't been to Thorpe in a good few years. So
But the footage of the time lapse is incredible, and you can just see this monster, mammoth, huge B&M track just going up like day by day. And then the first time I saw a POV of it from Fort Park on YouTube, I was like, man, that was the only reason I went down to Fort Park in the first place, was because of the Swarm. I didn't go before
because
the
of
Swarm.
Swarm.
Yeah, like everything else, okay, it's cool, but this is completely different. You can't go on anything like this in the UK unless you go on the Swarm, and that's why I like the
It
Swarm so much.
it is very unique to our country, and I do like that about it. I do like and appreciate and respect that about it a lot.
Yeah, definitely, man. So anyway, that's my opinion about my favorite ride. I could go on forever about the Swarm, but obviously we're trying to cut this video down. So Mikhile, what's your favorite coaster in your opinion?
All right. So my personal favorite coaster as of right now is Lightning Rod at Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. I mean, where do I even begin with this absolute monstrosity of a ride?
No, I can't wait to hear about this, because this is a bucket list coaster for me, like without a shadow of a doubt.
It was a bucket list coaster for me, and just my expectations for it were super high, super high. I tried to sort of like corral them and like pull them back just a little bit, and just like, don't overhype it for yourself. But I mean, just by looking at the thing, just by watching videos on it, it's hard not to be just overly super excited to ride something like that. So I rode Lightning Rod for the first time last year. I say for the first time. I've only been to Dollywood once. But
how many times have you been? How many times you've been on it though? A few times, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's true. I've done 10 rides on it overall. And
Nice.
yeah,
That's
I
more
will
than a
say,
lot of people in America get, man.
that's
Like,
that's what I'm about to get to. Yeah. Given its really troubled history of downtime and reliability and stuff like that, I actually think that me and my friend got extremely lucky last year in the sense that they did get it to a point during the 2019 season where it was running pretty consistently, and we just happened to go when it was pretty much running as consistently as it could have been
yeah,
throughout the entire season. And it didn't really have any major downtime. We were there for 2 days. We spent 2 days there, and it didn't have any major downtime at all throughout either of the days that we were there. And the first day that we spent there, we managed to just basically it wasn't that busy, so we managed to marathon the thing for like an hour and a half.
nice, nice, man.
Like it was only like a 5 minute wait. It was a station wait for like early afternoon, around 2-3 p.m., something like that. And we just sat on it for a good hour and a half, like I said. And it got to a point where I looked at my friend and was just like, yo, I need a break. Because it's that intense, it's that relentless, it's just non-stop. From it's not the longest coaster in the world, but it's just non-stop until you hit the brakes. And it got to a point where I was just like, yo, my body needs a break. Can we go do something else? I didn't want to stop, but I was like, I'm gonna pass out if we keep going. To put it into perspective a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
before I rode Lightning Rod, I rode Fury 325, and that was my number one coaster before riding Lightning Rod.
Of course.
Because
Why
what else
wouldn't
would
it be? Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't it be?
And Fury was my number one just purely because it was more of a it was as much situational as it was objectively how good that ride is. It's definitely number one worthy, but it's not my number one anymore. But at the time, it offered me the most joy-filled experience I've ever had on a coaster at the time. And so when it came to riding Lightning Rod, my reception of Lightning Rod was more so, this is objectively the most aggressive roller coaster I've ever ridden. And Lightning Rod was my experience of Lightning Rod is kind of what it showed me what I prefer in coasters in general, in terms of a sense of speed, speed and aggression, whippy moments, strong, like whippy changes of direction, forceful turns, stuff like that. And this is this is where it comes into, like, I will take those moments of aggression over airtime. Like, airtime is, I love airtime, I do love airtime, but I'll take those things over it. Just that's just me personally. Yeah. But getting into the ride experience of Lightning Rod, it's so insane how it's the first ever launched wooden coaster. That's something that we never thought we'd hear from a wooden coaster up until now.
No. I mean, it was rumored that Wicker Man was going to have a launch, but it never did.
Oh, really?
There was a lot of rumors. Yeah, there was the rumors going around about the Wicker Man that it was gonna feature a launch because of the lift, how it went like that, and then it leveled off. Turns out it's just so it can go over a path. But yeah, anyway, yeah. I digress.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, for it to be the first launched wooden coaster is a feat in itself. And not only that, like, it's not any kind of, timid launch. It's not just to get you from A to B, like maybe a Mach launch would be focused like that, but it's not that kind of launch. Like you feel it, and it is mostly because the top speed you reach on that launch is 45 miles per hour, and so it's not reaching like a surprise, like an astounding speed on paper, but because it's sloped up such a steep mountainside, you're pitched back in the seat, like, so there's gravity at play. And then when the launch is going up, it's the same as, in this sense, as the launch on Incredible Hulk,
Okay.
in the sense that it's going upwards, so you kind of feel a bit more pushed back into your seat a little bit
Yeah.
more, and it's a constant acceleration. Like I didn't feel like it got to a certain point and then
It let
stopped
off.
accelerating, and then like it let off, and then you just kept going. It is a constant acceleration all the way up to the top. It's a real shame that it's had the problems that it's had, that launch section, because it is really good. It's really good. I think so. My first ride was in the front row, and you do get a good pop of ejector airtime on that first one before hitting the second one, which is a bit more floater, but it's still pretty strong
Yeah.
as well. But yeah, you fly over those two bunny hills at a good pace, and then it's straight down to the drop. So this may be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, depending on who you ask. The drop is good. It's not my favorite part of the ride. It's not. It's a good drop, but I don't think the first drop on RMC coasters in general is where RMC excels.
No.
There are a few other drops that I would take over it. But it's a good drop. It's a sizable drop. It's 165 feet, if I remember correctly, and it's good enough to set the tone really well. And so yeah, you go down that drop and you fly up into the first of two wave turns. And one thing I really like about this wave turn is that the way it's profiled and the way you ascend up into it, you basically just have the track and the sky in your vision.
Brilliant.
So like on a clear day, you see nothing but the sky and the track, and then when if there's some cloud cover, it's just a really cool visual. Like, the photographer in me would love to take a picture of that visual.
Just a still photo, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be really good. It's really nice visually, and so like you float really well through that first wave turn. It's floaty, but it's speedy as well. I would say maybe the first half or first third, maybe first half of the ride post drop and launch is more so. It's not quite as like rip your face off intensity as the second half is, but yeah. So you float well through that first wave turn. You come down, and it is kind of like that first part of the ride. You're kind of like going back and forth on a valley, and you go up one side, you come down one side, and then you go up the next side into the second wave turn, where it is kind of the same as the first one, but that's where sort of like the injection of the whippy transitions that a lot of RMC coasters are really good at. It comes into play in that second wave turn, because it throws you from one side of the train to the other. If you're sat on the right side of the train, it is flinging you to the left, because you bank up right into it, and then go left, and then come back right. It almost comes out of nowhere, but it's a really fun element. And then after the wave turns, the real fun starts.
So after all that, then it starts to actually kick you in the face, right?
It ramps up something stupid. It is pure bedlam from that point onwards. What's next after that second wave turn is an off-axis airtime hill, and that's where the crazy, RMC level ejector airtime and speed induced airtime comes into play. And that's what I love so much about this ride. It really just takes things up to a whole other level for the rest of the coaster, and you're just going, you're just going until after that airtime hill, there's a double up, and then you get to the quad down. that quad down, not only just the quad down, but the speed hill after the quad down. That has to be, at the very least, top three elements I have ever experienced on a coaster. Absolutely, without question. This thing is, I can't really compare it to anything in my brain, because it's like just like what other coaster can you think of that even has a quad down, let alone one of that magnitude? You're flying down, you're flying down a hillside. You're flying down a hillside. There's loads of foliage and just uneven terrain around you. The topography of the location is incredible. Loads of foliage around you, loads of trees. You're just careening down. And off-ride, this thing looks incredible. It looks a lot bigger in person than it does on video.
I can imagine that.
So you're just going. And if you're watching it, because part of the queue line, you can see it all the way down. You can see it coming down. And you see that coming towards you. It's almost like an avalanche. Like if you're up at a ski resort and you're in a lodge and you see like just snow just coming down a mountain. It's kind of like that. But you fly down the quad down into the speed hill. Oh man, if you're in the back row on this speed hill, it's so surreal. I've always said, it feels like, because it threads, it goes in between. You've got the launch track going up, you've got the brake run above it. The speed hill threads in between them both perfectly. So you've just got structure around you as you fly through it, and it feels like you're just crashing through a wall. It's absolutely insane. It's just such an out of control feeling. It's so amazing. And after that, you've got a whippy turnaround, and then it's into the brakes, and it's oh man, it's an experience. It's an experience that everyone has to
for sure
get out and ride. Reliability willing. So you may be a bit unlucky, but it's something everyone has to experience.
Well, I mean, that's a topic for another, in my opinion, video.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the ride itself, though, like from what I've seen, it just looks so intense. Like even the bits you talk about that aren't intense just look like, again, similar to how the Swan provides a unique experience. Lightning Rod provides that extra bit of intensity, that extra barrier that it's broken in terms of the quad down. Like, what the heck? Who would have thought of a quad down? Like, seriously. RMC, it's just like whoop, 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 and then
it just sounds like something, because we've all seen a double down, we've all seen a triple, a double up, double down, triple down in terms of voyage. But just like quad down just sounds like something that you would hear in like, or just see in a No Limits 2 creation or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably the closest you're ever going to get to riding one if you don't get to ride. I think that wraps up this episode of In My Opinion. So you got my opinion about Swarm. You've heard Mikhail's opinion about Lightning Rod at Dollywood. So guys, comment below. Let us know what your favorite coasters are. We're eager to know. Like, we really want to know. What do you think about this series as well? Have you enjoyed this first video? Hopefully you have. Hopefully you're going to smash that subscribe button. Smash the like button as well. And make sure you follow us on all our social media. So there's only one thing left to say. For now, I've been Luke, he's been Mikhile, and that was In My Opinion, and we've been CoasterGen, and we'll see you next time, guys.